Hello, everyone. I'm Kenshin, and welcome to History Talk. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you. Today's historical discussion is about the true story behind The Phantom of the Opera. On April 16, 2023, the longest-running musical in Broadway history, The Phantom of the Opera, bid farewell to Broadway. Since its premiere in 1988, it had accumulated nearly 20 million attendees and grossed over $1.4 billion, making it one of Broadway's most successful productions. Due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced Broadway to close for 18 months, the production faced insurmountable losses, leading to its closure. Many of you may have seen or heard of this adaptation of Gaston Leroux's French novel. It depicts a musical genius with a disfigured face who haunts the Paris Opera House, training his beloved soprano, Christine, leading to a tragic love triangle. However, I'm not a theater critic. Today, I'll discuss the real story behind The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera is a romantic thriller novel written by French author Gaston Leroux. Originally published in French in 1910, it was first translated into English in 1911. Set in the Paris Opera House during the 19th century, the story revolves around a young opera singer, Christine Daae, a young nobleman, Leroux, and a musical genius hiding in the depths of the opera house. Many wonder if The Phantom of the Opera is based on a true story. The answer is somewhat yes and no. While the plot is fictional, some elements are inspired by real events and legends from the Paris Opera House. While the events in the musical didn't occur, many aspects and references in both the musical and the novel draw from real occurrences at the Paris Opera House. For instance, there was indeed a catastrophic incident involving a falling chandelier, and rumors abound about ghosts haunting the theater. In the first act's climax of the musical, a chandelier weighing a ton crashes onto the stage, marking one of the most iconic moments of The Phantom of the Opera musical. The inspiration for this scene came from a real tragedy at the Paris Opera House. On May 20, 1896, during a performance of Hella at the opera, one of the counterweights supporting the chandelier above the audience seats came loose, causing the 750-kilogram chandelier to fall from the ceiling, resulting in the death of a woman and injuries to many others. Forensic investigators later attributed the accident to overheating of a wire due to the high power consumption of the chandelier, causing the supporting steel cables to deform and melt, resulting in the chandelier's collapse. This event influenced Leroux to include it in his work, where the Phantom cuts the chandelier during the opera's finale as revenge for Christine's affection towards Leroux, rather than himself, although no one dies from the fall in the musical. Yes, the Paris Opera House indeed has an underground lake. In the musical and the novel, the lake serves as the centerpiece of the Phantom's lair. The Broadway stage is transformed into the lake through theatrical scenery, where the Phantom and Christine paddle in a canoe amid the mist, singing melodies of the night. Legend has it that the lake was once inhabited by a faceless man and some fish. Leroux incorporated this legend into his work. In reality, the lake is more like a sewer and served a practical purpose during the construction of the opera house's foundation, draining water from wells and steam pumps. The lake's only resident is a catfish, unofficially adopted by the opera house staff. As for Leroux's inspiration for The Phantom, it originated from a real ghost story. In 1873, a fire destroyed the old venue of the Paris Opera Company, the Salle Le Pelletier, resulting in the death of a ballet dancer and disfigurement of her fiancé, a pianist. Legend has it that the pianist secluded himself in the underground of the Paris Opera House until his death. Whether he was the faceless man rumored to reside in the lake remains a mystery, but these legends undoubtedly sparked Leroux's imagination in creating the Phantom's existence and life. Another inspiration for Leroux was the ghost story surrounding the Palais Garnier, which not only inspired him but also drove him to obsessively prove the existence of ghosts. In the prologue of his novel, The Phantom of the Opera, he recounts the mysterious disappearance of the Viscount de Chagny, who vanished for 15 years in Canada, with no one knowing his whereabouts. Upon his return to Paris, He immediately demanded a free opera ticket from the palace. Leroux claimed that the Viscount and his brother experienced a tragedy. In the novel, the Viscount is evidently the inspiration for Raoul de Chagny, Christine's childhood friend and lover, while Leroux believed the brother to be the phantom lurking in the dark corners of the Palais Garnier. According to some accounts, the ghost of the opera house is actually that of an abandoned old woman. However, Leroux not only firmly believed in the existence of ghosts, but also claimed to have unearthed a body in the catacombs of the Palais Garnier, proving his claim. However, it is more likely that the revolutionary government of the Paris Commune used the underground chambers to imprison prisoners, providing a more plausible explanation for this body. We all know the character of the Phantom of the Opera, and while he is not a true ghost, his ghostly presence aligns more with the name, Phantom. The leading lady Christine Daae is entirely fictional, but according to some researchers, the character was inspired by Swedish soprano Christina Nilsson, a renowned international opera singer with a career spanning over 20 years. There are also other claims that Christine's inspiration partially came from a ballet dancer named Nanine Dorival. What is certain is that playwright Andrew Lloyd Webber's real-life romance inspired him to adapt Christine into a musical. While creating The Phantom of the Opera, he married classical soprano Sarah Brightman, whom he met after her performance in Webber's musical Cats in the West End. Subsequently, Webber composed Christine for Sarah and crafted songs based on her vocal range. After her success in originating the role, Webber wanted Sarah to play Christine on Broadway as well. Initially rejected by the American Actors Equity Union, stating Webber should choose an American actor because international Broadway leads must be big stars. However, Webber insisted and compromised with Fair magazine, playing an American lead in his next London production. Despite their eventual divorce, Sarah's influence on this role remains everlasting. As for the crucial love triangle plot in The Phantom of the Opera, it also originates from a legend. There is a tale about two brothers vying for a woman named Christine. There is another, even more chilling story that inspired Leroux, involving a ballet dancer named Bois Maison falling in love with ballet actress Nanine Dorival, while simultaneously competing with the French corporal Mausurier, who decided to personally resolve the competition with Bois Maison. Bois Maison hoped to remain in the Paris Opera House even after death, to be with his lover. This love triangle inspired Leroux to create The Phantom of the Opera. Returning to the present, ABC News reported after the final performance, "This marks the end of an era on Broadway. The Phantom of the Opera completes its historic 35-year run." Playwright Andrew Lloyd Webber stated, "In the past few months, I never thought that anyone would believe the Phantom would vanish after causing such a sensation. Maybe it will come back. You never know. But I want to say, if it's going to make a sensation again, it couldn't come back in a better way. I think this is one of the greatest performances the Phantom has ever had." The New York Majestic Theater was packed on that day, with all 1,600 audience members standing at the curtain call, joining in a grand chorus with Sarah Brightman, who once played Christine. She, a familiar figure to many, remarked, "It feels surreal because I truly believe it shouldn't end, so I think people will miss it immensely. The Phantom of the Opera will return at some point. That's my intuition. It's written with a lot of love, passion, and understanding of the human soul, so I think that's why people connect with it." If you like the content of the program, please don't forget to subscribe, share and leave a message, and please also turn on the little bell.